Hello everybody and welcome to Season 2 of the West Ham Career Mode. Now we have started the January transfer window. No we haven't. We've started the summer transfer window and there has been some business but nothing really big other than Joshua Zirkzee has joined the club, as you would have guessed that from the thumbnail, but it has been confirmed that Joshua Zirkzee is now in. And if we go here, we'll scroll down to the bottom of the transfers. Joshua Zirkzee joins for $31.9 million. Lovely stuff. We've also brought in Sergio Albonozzo on a free transfer, which is a player that I was quite excited about. Scouts found him. He looked pretty good. 18-year-old or 17-year-old? 19-year-old Argentinian, worth $2.8 million. We're paying him a fair whack at £16,500 a week, or dollars a week. But yeah, good dribbling, good pace. Looks pretty decent. We'll see how he gets on. I think we're going to keep him, not loan him out. We might loan him out, not sure. But then we've just been selling deadwood that we were going to sell anyway. So Naya Fagard has moved to Arsenal for $29.5 million. Kyle Walker-Peters eventually got a move that we were happy with to Fenerbahce for $6 million. George Earthy's gone on loan to Heidenheim over in Germany to get some football there. Edson Alvarez has joined Braga for $21.1 million. Joseph Long, McLaughlin and Rowe have all come up from the youth academy and been loaned out straight away. Cardiff, Casimapasa and GFK respectively for three of them. Junior Robinson was a young player at the club who's been sold for £1.1 million. Pounds. So yeah, not too bad. Some big transfers have happened though around the world already. None bigger than Phil Foden. $112 million he's gone from Man City to PSG. So that is the big transfer of the summer so far. We'll have a recap of some of the bigger deals and most of the deals in the Premier League and stuff at the end of the transfer window. But yeah, we've got to the point then where we've got rid of a bit of the deadwood. There's more offers that we have coming in as well. So if we go and have a look at received offers, Lucas Paqueta has a $30.5 million offer from Bergamo Calcio, which I can't remember who that actually is. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But $30.5 million, and it's not a Premier League club, and he still, I think, wants to leave. We'll check that one out. Kuda has had 2 offers accepted on him. Forbes has had 3 offers accepted on him. Casey has had 3 offers accepted on him as well. Orford had 2 accepted but turned them both down after the contract. Todibo's, they came in with a $24 million bid. I upped it to 50. They said no. And Potts, we've had 2 loan offers for him, but we've turned both of those down as well. So there is some stuff happening that we did between the end of last season to this season to the point we are now, but nothing major. That Paqueta is probably the biggest news we've got. So we're going to deal with that in just a second. I did save some of the inbox news though, just to catch you up as well, so you can see how it's all happened. So last season they were delighted. They've kept us on for another year, which is absolutely brilliant. We had our transfer budget increased to 141 million, which is incredible. Ward-Prowse left to join PSV. Keith left on loan to join Coventry for 2 years. Marshall left to join Wrexham. Wilson left to join Olympique Lyonnais. And then we got into this season's transfers. So 4.6 was allocated to the transfer budget from Walker-Peters. Gerd, we got 24.9 allocated to the transfer budget. Alvarez gave us 17.3 million. McLaughlin was loaned out to Casim-Pasa and Long was loaned out to Cardiff City. We've entered the South American Continental Cup in pre-season, where we're going to be playing Wolfsburg, Osasuna and Bayern Munich. So a challenging group that in the cup. And Rowe has been loaned out as well to Gaziantep. Don't know how you pronounce that. And Robinson has been sold, and 800,000 has been given to us as he moves to Al Fayha in Saudi Arabia. And that is everything completely up to date. We are playing the next update of EAFC. They've released an update today, so we're going to use that as an opportunity to see if it fixes a few contract issues. So Zielinski, he's happy with his contract. Hermansen's happy with his contract. He signed a new contract actually very recently that has now made him our crucial first choice goalkeeper, a position I think he deserves. Scarles is still here. I'd like to potentially, he's still not interested at the moment. Diouf, I don't think he's going to be interested either. Forbes, we're probably looking to move on. Mavropanos, I'm not fussed about his contract. Todibo, I'm very happy with. Casey, not happy with his contract, but he has been approached by different clubs and he's in discussion with them. So we'll see how that goes first. Wan-Bissaka is here and happy with his contract. Orford, we're not fussed about. Hackney's happy with his. Potts isn't happy with his. So let's see if he's not. Doesn't want to talk. Magassa is back at the club after his loan spell at Salzburg or Leipzig. I think it was Salzburg. He's not too happy with his contract. Doesn't want to chat right now. We're trying to sell Cornet. NDI's happy. Gomis is happy. McLaughlin's out. Paqueta is happy with his contract but has submitted a transfer request. So he still wants to leave. So we'll be looking at cashing him on. Soriano, we're looking to sell him back to Spain if we get an offer there. Fernandez is happy with his contract, just not happy with his playing time. Albanoz, as we said, is the new signing. Luis Guilherme, we could probably see, it looks like nobody wants to discuss right now. Jared Bowen. Kudo, we're probably going to be selling. Pontes is not happy with his contract, but he doesn't want to talk to us about it. Piatek is happy, and Xerxes, signed full-time, is happy as well. But we do have some gaps in the squad. I feel like right midfield, if we don't loan Pontes out, his and Louis Guilherme will rotate again this season. We do have Jared Bowen that can play on the right as well. In centre attacking midfield, Fernandez, Soriano, I'm going to sort of sideline and not play him too much. Albanaz as the youngster could play, and Bowen can play there in there as well. Maybe an upgrade in centre attacking midfield, or a centre attacking midfielder that can play in central midfield as well would be quite useful, because as much as I like our central midfield, if we're selling Paqueta, it then suddenly becomes quite weak, young and inexperienced. It would be Hackney, Potts and Magassa as our three options in there. And the eldest is Hackney at 24. The highest rated is Hackney at 76. So I do feel like we need something in there. Left midfield, I'm actually happy with NDI and Gomis. But again, we could potentially loan Gomis out and bring in a more experienced left winger. And if there's someone that can play left and right midfield, then that would be a bonus as well. In terms of the fullbacks, we'll look at those first. Right back, we definitely need at least a backup to Aaron Wan-Bissaka or someone to challenge him for a first team spot, because he's the only right back at the club. Left backs, more than happy with Diouf and Scarles as our option. Centre backs, we only have two senior centre backs, Mavropanos and Todibo, and we're currently looking at moving on Forbes and Casey. Now, if Casey's moves fall through, I'll probably keep him as the fourth choice centre back option and look to bring in another centre back. But we need a starting centre back that's going to replace Igor and will be similar or better rated than Todibo, I think, in this transfer window. Because Mavropanos at 77 is decent when he plays, but his lack of pace really gets caught out and his lack of rating is pretty noticeable. And then goalkeepers, we're happy with Hermansen and Zielinski, but in terms of realism, we'll get a third choice English goalkeeper that sits on the bench and is a homegrown player, basically. Which leads me on then to our shortlist. And looking at our shortlist, we're going to sort by position. Oh, that's not position. That's position. On the bench then, we have Woodman from Liverpool. He is transfer listed and would count as homegrown, so sort of ticks the cheap and cheerful homegrown box. Patterson got relegated with Sunderland. He's been playing backup to Roofs, and this is where it becomes interesting. We're actually okay on the number of homegrown players. We'll look at the spreadsheet in a minute. But Patterson would be someone happy to be a backup. Roofs would be better and younger than both Woodman and Patterson, but obviously is another foreign national. But because we're within limits, Roofs might not be a bad shout to be backup to Hermansen at the moment. And I think we could get profit on him to sell him on in a few years' time, or give us the option to sell Hermansen and Roofs can then just step in. But because we've got Zielinski as well, goalkeeper's a really interesting conundrum, and it's definitely not top of my priorities to go and look at. And a third player from Sunderland at right back is Timothy Pembele. Could be an interesting option. I basically went through the relegated squads to have a look at which players I'd like a look of to take up. There's not that many of them. But Pembele is an option. Can play centre-back, can play right midfield as well. So we're going to get the scouts to do the work there. We have fully scouted Mohamed Simakan at centre-back, currently out in Saudi Arabia. A release clause of 67 million, market value of 44 million, would come in as our best centre-back. 6'2", very physical, good at defending, decent pace, good play styles with bruiser and jockeying as well. I think he would be a very good option for us. Can also cover at right back and give us an option there as well. Great in the tackle, good defensive awareness, good heading accuracy. Sort of does strike me as the sort of player that we should be bringing in. And at 26, you'd like to think he'd be welcomed or open to a move back to Europe from Saudi Arabia. He's gone there very young in his career. We've also got Van der Berg that we're scouting. Our scouts have found him and suggest that he could be a good prospect at centre-back, which would be pretty useful. Tall, only 22, looks like he could be good. Martin is another one, 20 years old, defending is someone between 70 and 80. So these are the more sort of third choice centre-backs as we go through that. Another option competing with Simakan is Facundo Medina, currently at RC Lon. He's got 81 physical, 80 defending. Play styles of jockey, slide tackle and bruiser, which is awesome. Left-footed, so would be quite useful on that left-hand side of the centre-back partnership. And again, decent sprint, well, very good sprint speed, but slow acceleration, but good jumping strength, composure, aggression, reactions, all that sort of stuff. It just... My thing here is that he's better in like the sort of tackle and the passing than Simakan, but he's just not as quick. And that's the thing. Simakan's got one less sprint speed at 81, but 75 acceleration, whereas Medina's 67 acceleration is quite poor against the speedy strikers that we're going to see in the Premier League this season. And then we have Pascal Struijk, who is just a defender I think is really good, and we could bring in from Leeds as well. He's being scouted at the moment. Would probably be a lot cheaper than Medina or Simakan, but we're going to have to wait and see what they come back with, the scouts, because I actually want to look at attributes as well. We've still got Tom Klaus on here as a central midfielder option. We've fully scouted him now, so we can see he is more of a defensive player. Could be an option for us. I'm still interested in him. But again, at 77 rated, he's not too much of a step up from what we've already got. It's not like that big step in central midfield. But still a good option, only 25. We'll keep an eye on him. On to the wingers. Rooney Bargy, I mean, a really good player, obviously. Someone with a lot of potential. He's only 72 rated in game. Now, we could probably loan him in. He's got trickster, technical and game changer if we need it. We could probably loan him in. But do we want to is the key, is the actual question there. Obviously, on the left, we've got Ndiaye and Gomez. On the right, we've got Louis Guilherme and Pontes. And I sort of feel like if we bought Rooney Bargy in, it's then going to hinder Pontes' progress. So I think I'd rather keep that to Pontes. But if we wanted a more starting right midfielder, this is my man I think we're going to go for. Simon Adringa from Sunderland, relegated last year, but a very good player. Signed from Brighton in this universe last summer, and could be a very good option. We've got the scouts looking at him to get an idea of price and things like that, but we'll keep an eye. In central midfield, again, we've got Kamara, 79 rated, not too bad. Bit of an all-rounder in central midfield. Good at the dead ball, good at long balls as well, which would be helpful. 33 million. Can do that more holding midfield role that we want him to. Really good physicals, good mentals. Technicals are up there as well, just can't head the ball. He can do pretty much everything else that we need him to. So could be a good option in central midfield to bring a little bit more quality in there. Of course, Ansu Fati's been on my list for quite some time. Left midfield, could probably play on the right as well. Does have the quick step trade as well. Great pace, really good ability. Would be available, I think, quite cheap from Barcelona because he's not playing for them. Only 19 million for a 23-year-old Ansu Fati. Does sound like it would be a good move. And again, we could bring him in, loan Gomez out. So that is an option there as well. Angel Gomez, ex-Man United, homegrown, a good player. This is one of those, we've got a list of people now. We've got Gomez, Felix, Mason Mount and Aronson, who can all play attacking midfield and central midfield and give us options, like give us good quality options. Now, Aronson, we don't know much about. Mason Mount, I think we could loan Mason Mount from Man United, and I don't think that's too bad of an idea. He's very, very good. No play styles, but all-round ability is very, very good. And a loan means we don't have to commit to spending quite a lot of money on him. That's one option. João Felix is obviously 26, $36 million market value. Play styles, though, finesse shot, which is great. Technical and first touch as well, which would make him superb at that sort of central midfield, attacking midfield role. Can also play on the left-hand side and as a striker. So does give us some versatility in there, which I do really appreciate. And then, yeah, Angel Gomez, 25 years old, 22 million, lots of play styles, finesse shot, incisive pass, long ball pass, inventive and technical, which makes him really good. A bit cheaper than Felix, but he's more expensive than Mason Mount, which I find a bit bizarre, but he's probably got more room to grow. So I'm not sure. There's plenty of options. I mean, that balance of 91 is incredible. I imagine he'll be lovely to dribble with. And it does give us another homegrown player. Not that we need them at the moment. But yeah, decent finishing, decent dribbling. Not as versatile, but can play in central midfield. So yeah, lots of options in there as well. And then yeah, Brendan Aronson, we're waiting. And then potential striking options that we've got as a sort of backup or different option to Xerxes and Piatek, who are quite similar. Guri, we are scouting, but he looks very good in terms of his shooting and his ability. I did say that Strand Larsen was one of the only people from Wolves that I'd be interested in, so he's on the shortlist and we're getting a scout on him, but I think he'd be a bit too similar to what we've already got in Piatek and Xerxes. And then Noah Okafor got relegated with Leeds. I've always been impressed with Noah Okafor. He's quick, he's versatile, he can do quite a lot in the game, and I think he'd be happy to be a backup for us. So that is the shortlist at the moment. That is how it stands. Now, I'm probably going to have to make most of these decisions before I get a chance to read your comments. So I'm going to be interested to see what you say. But I am recording quite far in advance because I've got that 3-week trip that is coming up just as Football Manager releases, probably, which is really annoying, but there's nothing I can do about it. So it has to happen. So yeah, we'll be using this episode as a sort of transfer episode to try and get some stuff done. I'll be playing the games in the pre-season friendly off camera. I'll do the game so that I can try people out in different positions, but that is where we stand at the moment. Let's go and have a look at the spreadsheet because it's had a bit of an upgrade. Okay, so the dashboard has moved to the first tab that you can see, and it gives you a nice overview of everything going on. We've added in the loans that are ins and outs at the club, and we've got the total players that have been used ever in the West Ham save, so we'll get onto that in a second. But yeah, Premier League, you can see we've got a squad of 20 at the moment. 10 of them are homegrown, and we are compliant. In Europe, we've got a squad of 20. 7 are trained at the club, and 10 are trained in the nation, so we are compliant with that as well. Looking at the database, this lists every single player that we've ever had in our West Ham squad. Grey means they're no longer at the club and they've been sold or moved on. Green means they're here. Yellow means they're out on loan. And then if they have a different shade of green, it just means they're at the club on loan at us as well. And then what we're doing is we're tracking their overalls per season to see how people have improved. Now, impressively, Hermansen, we said he had a good season. He's gone up by 4 ratings in one season, which is very, very good indeed. Diouf went up by 3, which is very impressive. We've had most people going up by 1s or 2s throughout the season, which is good. Orford out on loan went up by 3, which is impressive for him as well. Potts getting his first team appearances went up by 4, which is very, very good. And you can actually notice that if it's orange, they've stayed the same, or they didn't have a rating last year because they've only just been called up to the squad, or they didn't play for us. But yeah, the only negative was Callum Wilson, who's been moved on, which is great. Piatek has stayed the same. Xerxes went up by 2, but you can understand there what we're doing, and then we're just tracking our transfers as well. So last season, we did make a little bit of profit. We had £86.9 million of players sold, and we had 77.65 of players bought, so not too bad, although that is quite substantial business just for a January transfer window. And then in the summer, through the summer so far, we've not bought in anyone for money, but we have made 70 million in terms of player sales. Obviously, Agerd and Alvarez, Ward-Prowse being the main 3 in there as well. So we're tracking all of that in the spreadsheet. This is just the Premier League squad, suggesting who's homegrown under 21 and included in the squad. It does the same with the European competitions. And then we have a how to use sort of segment at the end, just in case anyone wants it. If you do want it, let me know in the comments below. I'll put it in a Dropbox and you can download it. And then when I see those comments, I'll make it available for everyone to download, by which time we'll probably be halfway through season 2. So it would be quite interesting. But yeah, that's the spreadsheet. I quite like the idea of tracking every single player we ever use in the save. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let's get back to the game. Okay, so the other thing to catch you up on is stuff in the office. New objectives for the season. They're quite tough. Finishing a Europa League spot, that is going to be difficult. Reach the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, that's probably acceptable, given that we won it last year. And reach the final of the Europa League. The board are expecting quite a lot of us this season. I think they're expecting us to spend quite a bit of money to help us get there as well. In terms of the start of the season is absolutely brutal, by the way. As we head into August, we have the Community Shield against Liverpool. And then our first 3 league games is Newcastle away, Man United at home, Liverpool away. What an introduction to the Premier League season that is. It doesn't get too much easier as we've got to play Spurs and Villa. We then take on Everton. Heading into October, we have an okay run. Brighton, Man City, Bournemouth and Chelsea into November. What you would call an easy November, right? Sheffield United, Ipswich and Forest. And then at the back end of the year, Coventry, who came up into the Premier League, Crystal Palace, Fulham, Burnley, who survived, Brentford and Arsenal in the Christmas period. And then January, Ipswich, Sheffield United, Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea. And it is just a relentless run of fixtures. According that Europe's going to be put in around these as well. And yeah, it's going to be tough. Oh, end to the season. Yeah, this is fun. We've got Man City and Forest and Arsenal. So 3 teams that have qualified for the Champions League this year. We will be playing them in the last month of the season as our last 3 fixtures. That's always good. So the first thing we have to deal with is the offer for Lucas Paqueta. So let's see if we can get a little bit more money for him. 28 years old. I don't really want to sell him, but he is pretty adamant that he wants to go. They may actually have. I wonder if they've got a midfielder that we could do as a swap. I mean, I'd love Charles de Ketelaere, but that's not going to happen. Samardzic at 24 isn't a bad shout. He's not a bad shout. Pasalic, no. Daniel Maldini is potential. Suleimana, Bresciani, Zucconi, no. I think the only one I'll be interested in is potentially Samardzic, but let's see how much we can get from them. Again, I'm going to go 40 million. I feel like if we can get 40 million out of them, that's not too bad for a player that wants to leave. 30.5, is that what they said before? Let's go. I'm just, again, I don't want to lose him. It's just that he really wants to go and he's not having a new contract or anything. So 38 million, that's a deal. They've gone for 38 million. It's up to Lucas now if he wants to go. 38 million, he's not going to be staying in the Premier League. I'm actually not too upset with that. That's not too bad. Okay, I have no idea how long this video is going to be. It's going to be a bit of a transfer special, as we just saw there. Did you see it on the right-hand side? Phil Foden has signed for PSG, smiling away with his thumb in the air. I'm going to play this game against Osasuna, and then we'll be back to hopefully get some deals done and strengthen our West Ham team. So a 1-0 win against Osasuna, a goal for Piatek, and an assist for new boy Albonazzo in that one, as Galatasaray have now made an offer for Lucas Paqueta. We've got 38 million. I was going to say, why can't I do something with it? But there we go. So we've got 38 million accepted from Bergamo Calcio. Let's see what Galatasaray are willing to pay. I don't think Galatasaray have anyone that would be of much use to us. Yilmaz would be decent, but he's probably too much. Leroy Sané's 30. We're not really looking for wingers too much. Tony Fruk, they've bought in the free transfer. Tony Fruk, that's a good signing for them. Lucas Torreira's 30, 27. Gabriel Iko Gundogan's 35. Mauro Lemina's now 32. Thomas Soucek, bring him back. Yeah, I don't think there's too many we want, is there? So let's go with, we're going to go the same, 40 million. And we'll see where we end up. And we're not going to accept less than 38. So they're saying 34.2. But the tensions are not too bad at all. So we're going to go 39.5. Let's try little increments. 39.5. They're happy with 39.5. Right, Lucas, do the right thing and move to Galatasaray, please. Okay, we're making our first move in the market and we are going to try and bring Simakan back to Europe from Saudi Arabia. £44 million is his market value, so we're going to just offer a cheeky 45 and see what happens. He has got a minimum fee release clause of 62, I think it is. So they might accept 45. They want 64 and a sell-on. Now, I'm not against the sell-on fee. That's fine. But 64 is far too much. So we offered 45. Let's go 50. See if we can get him in for £50 million. At 82 rated 26-year-old Simakan would be good. 53.5. I'm trying to think if there's anyone we could send the other way, but I don't really want to at the moment. Let's go 52.5. We take 52.5 for Simakan. They're happy with that. We'll talk to him for a contract. It's a big move, but it's a position that we really do need to strengthen at centre-back. So Simakan would come in as a crucial player, and that's what he wants to be. So we'll say he will be crucial. 4 years, I'm happy with that. That only takes him to the age of 30. That's fine. I love the fact he wears his hairband in this meeting. Yeah, no, don't want a release clause. That's absolutely fine as well. Salary-wise, he's on 63, so let's give him 75. I mean, he's going to be an important player for us, and we're going to give him $500,000 just for signing the dotted line. Let's see. Yeah, they're happy with that. Good. I'm very happy that it's been done and dusted quickly. So Simakan joins West Ham in the transfer window. He joins Joshua Zirkzee as another big money signing in, and I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with that. As I said, the fourth choice centre back will decide on if one of our youngsters leaves or not. If we end up keeping a young centre back here, then we don't need a fourth choice centre back. It would be Simakan, Mavropanos, Todibo, and whoever the young centre back is. But I don't know. We'll see with that one as well. But Simakan is in. He's going to sit in to replace Mavropanos. That is an easy decision there. Probably does mean that Magas drops down to the bench, I think. Magas, I played Magas for a whole half. Casey's probably the one I want to keep, to be honest, if we have to keep one of them. I played Magas in this role here, where Hackney is, for a half against Osasuna, and he didn't feel good. He didn't feel good to use, so I'm actually not against selling him if that's an option as well. I think next we're going to go and get the realism third choice goalkeeper done. So part of me is drawn towards Roofs to play as backup, which would make Zielinski the third choice. Or do we just go for Woodman, who's transfer list? No, we'll let the scouting be finished on these. I don't think they're going to be snapped up by anybody else. Now, we could go all out and get 3 really good options at centre-back and have Mavropanos at the fourth choice, which would be bringing in Medina as well, or Struik when they're scouted. We're going to wait for these scout reports to be done as well. I'm very keen to bring in Ansu Fati, and I'm very excited by the loan Mason Mount move, which would be quite cool, or bringing Angel Gomez back. João Felix would be fun, but I think because he's flopped at Chelsea before, I don't think that would be quite realistic, although West Ham love taking a punt on a player that's failed in the Premier League already. And then up front, I mean, I'm leaning towards Guri or Okafor. I think we're going to get rid of Larson. We'll let the scouting finish, but I think we're going to get rid of Larson. He's too similar to what we've already got. We do have an update for Soriano, which is fine, but we're not going to be using him, and we're hoping that a bid comes in for him at some point in this transfer window. We do have 6 unread messages, so let me just stop that. We've got an offer from Cornet from Brentford. Forbes, you really like it here, okay? I don't want you to stay, though, so that's fine. We've got lots of conversations to caps on. Keep working hard. I feel like I've made some great progress. You wanted to let you know that you really like it. I'll give you we spoke to all of those people as well. So we still have some unread messages, though. Oh, okay, we've got to set up a scouting network. I can do that in the future. I can get rid of all of these because I've caught you up on everything that's happened in that as well, so I don't need those to exist anymore. So let's go. It still says I've got 3 unread messages. I swear they fix some bugs and just add more in. 4.95 from Brentford. Now, he's a player that I don't want, I don't need, so I probably should just accept that. But as ever, if you can get a little bit more out of the AI for transfers, we're going to go 5.75 and just see what Keith Andrews has to say about that. No, 5 million is the most they're going to go to, apparently. So we'll try 5.5 and just see what they say. 5 million's our final offer. We'll accept it. He's not wanted here. He's not needed. Maxwell Cornet can sod off and move to Brentford. Hopefully they agree that deal. So there is a deal agreed, and it is Lucas Paqueta, but where's he going? Has he helped us out by moving to Galatasaray, or has he gone to Serie A, which would make much more sense, and move to Bergamo Calcio? We are going to find out, but Lucas Paqueta leaves West Ham, which means there is a gaping hole in our central midfield now that really does need filling, and that will be our next priority. Where is he going to go? We look a little bit dejected about it. It was sort of taken out of our hands by Lucas himself, to be honest, but he does go, and he's gone to Bergamo Calcio, so it's the more realistic move. $38 million Lucas Paqueta goes. They're probably not going to be too happy with that. It's a C, which isn't great. We could have got 47 million for him, but he was wanted away. He didn't want to stay. We've got an offer for Zielinski, a loan to buy. Now I'm going to reject it just because he was so good for us in the Cup last year. I want to make him our Carabao Cup goalkeeper this year, basically. That's what I want to happen with him, and then the backup keeper that we bring in will probably be in there. But yeah, Paqueta moves on, so it does increase our transfer funds a little bit more as well. So we'll see what happens as Hayden Hackney. Look, this is your chance this year, Hayden Hackney. You've done well. You've been a good player, Hayden. You did well for us last year. You're not really the one on the chopping block, I don't think. It's more we need to fill that gap. Now, they put Fernandez in there, but I just feel like we need a real creative force, especially if Bowen moves back out to the right. You need someone to step into attacking midfield. So let's go and have a look. Now, we have options, right? I've scouted Gomez. I said I like him. Felix, I do think, whilst it's not the most realistic, it could be a thing that West Ham did if he became available. Mason Mount, I think, would be a good option in there. Good workhorse, good all-rounder. Not the most expensive. Could get him on loan. Ansu Fati is another option. Left midfield could play CAM as well in there. And then, of course, we've got Brendan Aronson, who we're still scouting, who at 25 looks like he could be okay. Like, he looks like he's going to be an all-rounder, a bit like Mason Mount. So I'm really not sure. I think we need to sign two of them. The other one is, do we go for Lamine Camara at 22 from Monaco? But Monaco, I think, are in the Champions League this year. And he probably wouldn't leave Champions League football to join West Ham in the Europa League. Marseille, I think, is the same, but I don't know if they play Gomez that much. Fati doesn't play for Barcelona. Felix is playing out in Saudi Arabia, so I think if you chuck enough money at him, he would move back to Europe. And Mason Mount, Man United finished below us. They're not in Europe at all, and Brendan Aronson got relegated. So I do think there's some options. I'm still keen on a Dringa as well to come in, potentially. We do have Kraus we could go and look at as well for the more defensive role. It's a tough situation we're in at the moment. I think I'm going to go and see if Marseille have got European football. Okay, it's a really interesting one, actually. Marseille have qualified for the Champions League, as have Monaco. Both of those are in the Champions League with Paris Saint-Germain. However, what it does do is it rules out Guri. He won't move to us. He is a starting striker for a Champions League team, so he definitely won't move. However, Angel Gomez didn't really play for Marseille last year. He was not in the top average ratings for them. He's not in the top goals, not in the top assists. So I think that could be an interesting one to go for. So we're going to go for it. We're going to go for Angel Gomez, bring him back to English football. I think it is somewhat realistic. There's nobody I want to swap out. And because he's not playing for them, I'm just going to go slightly below market value and go for 20 million and see what they say. They want 25.8. Again, the sell-on fee, I'm not too fussed about that. Let's lower this down to market value then and see what they say. And just go for the 22 million with 10%. They want 23. I'm happy with that. 23 million. Angel Gomez could be coming back to English football. The Man United... he was a wonder kid at one point. He was rated very, very highly and came through the Man United youth system. So he wants to be important. He will. He'll be taken over from Lucas Paqueta. 4-year deal. Yeah, that'll take him to the age of 29. Don't mind that at all. Definitely don't want a release clause in there. They're happy with that. Right, he's on 45. So I think we just give him a 10 grand pay rise and say 55,000, and we'll give you a signing fee of 400,000. To try and get that over the line. He's happy with that. Angel Gomez is joining West Ham. Now, it's not ruling out me going for another midfielder. And I feel like if we did really well last year, and midfield was probably our weakest positions. I think strength in depth in there, rotation is an option as well. And Angel Gomez helps with registration rules, which is awesome. So Angel Gomez is in. I think it should get an A, in my opinion. That should get an A rating coming in. So it's not quite as good as Lucas Paqueta. He gets a B, which isn't dreadful. And yeah, I'm happy. We could have got him for 20.3, apparently. I don't believe that. But yeah, it is a step up on the options we have in central midfield already. So it's good. I feel like this is going to be quite a long video, but it will be Fernandez dropping out. He'll go back to the bench. And then Angel Gomez, who is the same rating as Fernandez, but can play a bit more naturally in that central midfield role. Now, when you look at our team, you really should have Jarrod Bowen out there. I would like to give this role here with Hayden Hackney will be completely rotated between Hackney and Potts. That's my plan. And then I feel like Guilherme drops to the bench and you could either play Fernandes in there as the starter or go out and get a very luxury signing like João Felix. The other thing I'm a bit concerned about is Hackney's 5'10" and Gomez is 5'5". So we do need some height in there. If you look at these three, it's 5'10", 5'10", 5'5". NDI's 5'11" and Jarrod Bowen's 5'9". We're really not a tall team. So yeah, there's lots of thinking to be done. I'm gonna have a little bit more of a think. Maybe one more deal in this episode, and maybe it's going to be a two-parter for the transfer window. I'm not too sure how to do this because I do feel like there's a lot we need to think about. I'm just going to check to see if any of these have fallen through. So he is still discussing with one team, Kaelin Casey. Forbes has rejected 2, discussing with 1. Cornet is still discussing, and Coda is still discussing as well. So let's see if we get any news on them. We'll just move forward and see what happens. No, we won't. We're going to end it there because it's match day against Bayern Munich. So we'll end this video here, and I think we'll come back and do a transfer window part 2, and then we'll start the season after that. So it's gone on a little bit more than I would have wanted to, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Transfer windows are always good fun and always very busy. Let me know if you'd prefer me to just do the transfers and then do a summary so that I know for next season or in the January or something like that. But yeah, really interested to know your thoughts. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.